Chris, I want to welcome you to this episode of Backstory Sessions. I'm really excited to have you as our guest today.
Well, I'm honored to be with you, and I appreciate you taking time to talk to me.
Well, you got some exciting news. It looks like season three is about to start taping.
Yes, we are going into season three, and got a lot of great guests that we are excited to be bringing on, and of course, always wonderful to be part of RFD TV. So this is really exciting for us. I can't believe it's season three, and but we're super excited to be there.
So, how did all of this start for you? Like going back to season one, whose idea and how did you become a part?
Well, we had been on Larry's Country Diner on RFD TV for a few years, and it had done really well. And when Larry said he was going to retire, a lot of people said, "Y'all need to, start a show, start a show." And of course, Taylor and I didn't know how to anything about doing that, and we performed at a party for a friend of ours, Richard Childress, and Patrick was there, the owner of RFD TV, and saw what we were doing, and he said, "Hey, y'all have done Larry's Diner so many years. Y'all need to do a TV show." And I thought, well, that'll never happen. You hear things, you say yes. I heard Roy Clark say one time, you say yes to everything in the business because only very few things happen. So I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. Well, sure enough, we went back out and met with Patrick in Texas, Fort Worth there, and it was a handshake deal. And we did the first pilot episode and it went great. And then did the first season. And of course, we all know Patrick passed away. Such a great loss, but it was a great fit for RFD, and Patrick was so good to us, and it's been great ever since. And it was just work. It was done a very old school on a handshake promise, kind of like I used to do years ago. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I told somebody. I'm good with the old school way.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's really worked out well for you. What is it that makes this show different from, other things that are on TV right now?
Well, this show is, of course, full of nothing but traditional country music and gospel as well. But this show, we do a lot of comedy in it, which if you were familiar with old variety shows like even the Smothers Brothers and stuff like that, where they had a lot of comedy and a lot of nonsense, I guess you'd say. And
Have you It seems like we lost the sound there for some reason.
today, we've got a lot of reality shows and idol shows and America's Got Talent and all that. But for it's just showcasing music, I feel like it's one of the few. It's kind of like Marty Stewart's show was, and Wilburn Brothers Porter Wagner. It's kind of got that vintage vibe, and I feel like it really gives the artist a chance to tell a little bit about themselves, share a few laughs, and play some good music.
So are you an old soul? Have you always like gravitated towards older country music and comedy and like those type shows?
Yes, we are definitely old souls. We drive old cars, listen to old music. I love everything from, the past. I love antique stuff. And so, yeah, I've always been drawn to and even older people, I can relate to them well. And I'm very much an old soul. And Taylor is the same way.
So what's it like working with your brother?
It's actually, we think a lot alike when it comes to the music. So we can kind of judge. I know what he's thinking and he kind of knows what I'm thinking. So there's that chemistry and then that family bond that you have. Of course, once in a while you might have a brother disagreement, but I tell somebody that's usually more awkward for the band than it is for us because we're used to disagreeing. So, but it's great working with a brother, really.
Yeah. So what about the studio at the Stockyards? What is that atmosphere like?
So it's really cool. It's right across from RFD's office. It's an old stock, where they sold cattle and stuff before they made a TV studio. So the seats are angled very well. There's not a bad seat in there, and it's kind of a intimate vibe. It's not huge, and it's your audience is right there on top of you, kinda. They're kinda part of the show, so and then when you get done, there's plenty to do around there. There's the John Wayne Museum beside, there's rodeos going on. They still do the cattle up and down the street every evening at 4 o'clock. So there's a lot going on there, and a lot of people that come never leave the area. They get a hotel right there, walk everything. Billy Bob's is right behind it. So this the TV studio's in a great spot, and of course we love Texas, so it's a wonderful place to be.
So, when you're filming, what's a day like? What time does it start and how long? And guide us through that.
We usually get in pretty early, around 8 or 9, but the people come in around 11, and we start around 11:30, and we film till about 2, and I'll take a little intermission, and then film from 2 to about 4. And and sometimes it may go a little quicker, just depending on if the cameras, everything was right, and I try to remember the words of my song.
Um, and so the audience, this is the same audience that stays with you.
It most of the time, it's the same audience, but you can buy a ticket for each day, or you can buy one ticket that covers all 3 days of taping. So, the audiences most of the time are there the whole week, but we have people going and coming as well, but it most of them stay for each show.
So I know you mentioned that it feels like an intimate setting. Do you find that that helps a lot with the filming to be that close and intimate with the audience?
I really do, because filming in front of a live audience brings a magic to the room that, because it makes it easier to come across to the people that are watching, because when you're performing to an audience, it's just different. You have a magic that happens between you and the crowd. And we want that same feeling if you're in your living room watching it. We want you to feel like you're there as well. And so I think having a live audience makes that big difference. And with it being a small studio, it's you're right there together, and it's kind of a family reunion. I say, because a lot of our fans come, so it's a good time. It's like playing in the living room, and I really love that about it.
So it really is like an audience adds like an extra energy
Oh
to.
yeah, without the audience, it completely changes. Our pilot was done without an audience because it was the first one, and Taylor and I were adamant on wanting an audience, a live audience, because it really does make a difference.
So were you nervous for that pilot?
Was. And I'm still, every season, every show we do, I'm worried. I want people to enjoy it, and you can't please everybody. And I've tried to learn that in being in the entertainment world, but that's our goal, is to please everybody. And the ones that aren't going to be happy, we try to work twice as hard to make them happy. So yeah, I'm very nervous because I always want to do my best and not disappoint.
Well, you have a really outstanding season 3 guest list. So, how did you choose who was going to appear?
Well, we've got so many entertainers that we know, and people that have asked to be, and management of people who've asked to have artists on. We've kind of got a waiting list, and what we're trying to do is schedule whose touring schedule will work at that time, because of the fact of just being we're touring so much, and a lot of artists are touring. Getting a time we can get off the road and do it, and a time when they can be there has been the trick. But that's kind of how we go about picking who's going to be on there. Is schedule wise.
And that really can be very difficult with everybody touring and doing their own things and trying to zero in on a time that you can be together.
It's been the hardest part, yes, ma'am, is just getting that nailed down.
So, who have you enjoyed? I know it can be more than one person because we never want to. It's you never can just pick a favorite, but has there been a moment or guest that's stood out to you for some reason? Maybe something unexpected happened, or it was just an honor, just for something that stood out.
Probably the Randy Travis episode.
Mm.
Randy and his wife Mary came on, and we got to perform all of Randy's songs with him there, and there's a lot of emotion in the room, a lot of emotion from Randy, a lot from us, and that will probably go down as one of my favorite memories of the TV show, just because Randy Travis gave so much country music, and then having him there as a guest and Mary and getting to perform his songs with him there on stage with us was that was a really moving moment for all of us. So that has to be my number one.
I mean, it doesn't even seem, did you ever imagine you would be,
No.
it, that is amazing to have that moment.
Yeah, I would have never guessed it. I mean, I was just no, I would have never in a million years thought it. And it was a true blessing to do that.
And he's very funny too. So I could see, his sense of humor also like just blending right in with you and your brother.
Yeah, it was a wonderful chemistry. And then all of us being from North Carolina, I guess,
Yeah. What is it there that's making all this talent?
I don't know. I don't know if I got enough of it in me. I'm still looking for my talent.
Well, maybe, Randy Travis has probably left a little bit with you there.
Sure is.
What's the favorite song that you sang when he was there?
Oh, Good Intentions was my favorite because that was one that was written by Randy and Merle Haggard together. And, it was a song that I had heard years ago and I always wanted to do, and then when we did it, to see the light in his face, because he hadn't heard it in quite some time, I thought it was a really cool experience. But it's my favorite. Good Intentions is one of the best written country songs of all time, and so I was glad to get to perform it.
Great. Do you find it difficult to embrace the roots of country and then staying fresh or with a new audience? Or do you think that younger people all the time are going back to the classic country?
Well, we just kind of do our thing, and I don't think too much about it. I just kind of do what we do, and let the audience find you. As far as the younger generation, I do see a lot of younger people at our shows, and I think people like Zach Top and Jake Worthington and people like that have done a wonderful job of introducing large masses of young people to the traditional sound, even though the traditional country that Taylor and I do is even older than the '90s sound. So I don't think a lot about it. I just try to do it with grace and respect and not make a mockery of it or make it cheesy. I want it to appeal to the younger people because they're the future of this music. And so we're just trying to introduce it to them the best way we can.
So, who introduced you to music? Where did this love for it come from?
My dad's dad, my grandfather ran a little store and played music and sang at that little honky tonk, really what it was. And he taught me how to play and taught me a lot of these old songs when I was 8 or 9 years old. And that's struck the love that Taylor and I both had for it. And we've never wavered from it.
So, did you start at the same time? Like,
Well, I was about 8 or 9. And when I turned about 14, my brother would have been 10 then, is when he decided he wanted to, play mandolin and sing harmony. And so he taught himself harmony and mandolin. And we did that for a long time. And then a couple of years later, he went and played guitar. And it's just grown from that into working with Merle Haggard for 7 years. And then going from that to Larry's Diner to where we are now, it's just kind of evolved.
so is anyone else in your family musical?
My mother plays piano and sings a little bit, and my grandfather on her side was a preacher and sang and played guitar. So we kind of had the gospel side and the country side of both coming at us. So we got a little both of that, which is great.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to say, like you were destined to have this talent, I think. So every season seems to have a little funny, behind the scenes story. Is there one for season 3 that you think fans will really embrace that you could give us a hint about? Or
I couldn't tell you. I don't know because I never know what's gonna happen till we get the finale.
okay.
I I know I know that having Jason James on there, he's a young artist that's very traditional, and he's a hoot, and him and Taylor together are a pair. So you better watch that episode close. Who knows what might happen?
All right. So, listeners, you heard we got to tune into that one, pay close attention. So, what do you hope people take away from this season 3?
Well, I hope that for the older folks that watch it, I hope it's a little bit of nostalgia as far as taking us back to the days when Porter Wagner and Wilbur Brothers shows were on TV. And for the younger folks that have heard this music, I hope it introduces them to our take on traditional country, and they maybe hear some songs they haven't heard before and fall in.
So, outside of the show, I know you mentioned that you're going to be touring. So, what is next? Tell us about the tour, any new music you have.
We're touring very heavily. We're gonna be in Florida, Georgia, some other dates in Texas, Colorado. I couldn't even tell you where. We try to take some of December off for Christmas, and then January is wide open again. We did a country music cruise, and we're all over the place in January. But I do know that early next year we have a gospel album coming out on Gaither Records. That'll be our first gospel project we've done in years, and that was going to be really good. I'm excited about that one. And we have a country album called "I, the Ragamuffin Paul," which was done in Pennsylvania, that will be coming out next year as well. So two albums coming out in the early part of the year and season 3 too. So we got a lot going on.
You absolutely do. So, what is it like touring and being, like work being such a big part of your life?
Um, it's a little demanding sometimes. As far as you want to be, I've got kids and Terry got kids and we're married, and sometimes you want to be home, but the job takes you miss a lot of things. So it's a big sacrifice, but the family knows we love them, and knows that we do this to support our family. So it's a balance. You can't let the music business burn you out. You've kind of just got to stay focused on what you want to do and what you love about the music business, and let other stuff just kind of blow by.
Well, this has certainly, been great. I wish we had longer always, but I know season 3 sounds like it's going to be amazing. And I appreciate that you dropped by and let us know some of the things we can look forward to about it.
I'm honored you took the time, and anytime you ever want to talk to me, you give me a call. I appreciate you doing this.
All right. Well, everybody look for, out on the road, all those states, you're surely able to find one of them that's close enough for you to, for people to come see you live as well on the road. But thank you again, and we will have you back to hear about season 4.
Thank you so much.
All right.